So, just been taking some photos. We're on the move again. This little dirt track that I spotted on my way home from work. Well, that'd be nice to get some photos of, because it just leads down into some trees. A little bit similar to that one over there, if you can see it, but it didn't have a gate on, so I could go up a little bit. Been into photography for many years. Started when I was probably about 9 or 10 with a little 110 film camera, taking photos of battle scenes that I created in the garden with Airfix toy soldiers and later on action men. Then a cheap 35mm. Then I found motorbikes, and the photography seemed to drop off a bit. Got back into it probably about 20 odd years ago. Originally just to take some photos of stuff I was selling on eBay. And I didn't have a decent enough camera to take some pictures, so we bought a cheap, what they call a bridge camera, and ended up taking it out on a bike with family. Fell in love with photography again. It was a Nikon P100, which was the bridge camera. I then progressed to a Nikon D5000 with a couple of lenses. And I should have taken the advice of the chap in the camera shop and gone for the better camera body that had the motor inside it. Because less than a year later I was back buying the better body that they were recommending, and I ended up getting a D7000 because that hadn't been out long. So I did eventually get the better camera body that he was recommending, the D90 at the time, because the 7000 wasn't out then, so I got it just after release. Then got some better lenses to go with it. I use them quite a lot over the years. I've done some weddings for family and friends, done a portfolio shoot for a model from Leeds area, a charity ball event, and all the general landscaping and everything else that you get. Actually looking for I think it was a new toaster for the house, me and my wife. And at the time, Fujifilm had just released the X20, which was like a little compact point and shoot that looked like an old film camera. And I thought it looked great. So, a couple of weeks later, I ended up buying one and loved it. I used that more than I did my Nikon DSLRs. You could fit in your pocket, it was easy to take about. And then I acquired many years later, so this is about 3 years ago, Fujifilm X-T10, which is their sort of like DSLR styled camera. And loved that to bits as well. And since getting that, I hardly ever touched my Nikons. So much so I hadn't even noticed when they went missing from the house. I'm not sure how they went missing or who took them. Can't prove anything. So the D7000 and some lenses went missing. Still got the 5000 and a lens left. So I got some money together from it. But instead of getting another Nikon DSLR, I bought an upgrade to the Fuji. So I'm now using a Fujifilm X-T2. And I've got a couple of lenses to go with it. So I've now got 3 lenses for the Fujis. The X-T10 got put back in its box. I'd never use that, so I may end up selling that. The only camera I seem to use at the moment is the X-T2. Which is what I've just been using. Take some fantastic pictures. Yes, but when it was released, it was sort of like the top of the line pro, you know, up there for wedding photographers and stuff. So it's still a decent camera, even though it's what, about 10-12 years old now. I'm not taking pictures to blow up to the side of a house, so 24 megapixels is quite good enough. I don't shoot video on it, so that was the only difference between getting the X-T2 and the X-T3. The X-T2 was cheaper, and the only advantage of the X-T3 was slightly better video. So I chose the X-T2, saved some money and bought a lens with it. I've got a 56 1.8mm lens. I've got a 27 27mm 2.8, and the kit lens that came with the X-T10, which is the 16 to 50. Recently acquired some old film cameras. So one had a sticking lens because the lenses are built into 2 of them. So it's a Canonet QL17. So the actual shutter was sticking. So after numerous YouTube videos on how to take it apart and clean, I bit the bullet and took it apart, which wasn't as hard as it seemed, or as complicated, as long as you laid out the parts afterwards. Managed to clean it off. The lens is a little bit loose on it, which probably helped taking it apart. But put it back together, everything seemed to work okay. I put a roll of film through it, and I was very, very pleased with the photos I got back. The only thing I wasn't pleased with the cost of film and getting stuff developed these days. That's gone way, way, way up. So, as much as I enjoyed it, it's not something I'll be doing quite a lot of. The other one is a Yashica Electro 35. That had what they called the pad of death problem with it, which is a little pad, foam pad, felt pad that's inside the camera that stops the that presses the shutter down. So same thing again. YouTube comes to the rescue. That's all working again now. I've not put some film through it, but everything seems to indicate that it's working. And the other one was a Russian 1960s rangefinder camera. In fact, all these three are rangefinder cameras. But the Russian camera is called a Fed 3. Now it's got interchangeable lenses, and it came with a lens on it, which is I think it was a 50mm. So I put some black and white film through that on a photo walk recently, and I was pleased again with the results of that. Although it did have a little bit of light leak on the curtain inside. But I think I've managed to sort that out. Still got to put another film through it just to see, but even so, the photos that came out of it, even with the little bit of light leak on it, are really, really good. I'm quite pleased. Not had a thing to do with that one apart from the shutter curtain. I'll put some film through them every once in a while. But it's sort of like, with the cost of the film and the developing, and that's not even with getting photographs, that's just the negatives and the negative scanned into, well, they either send you a CD, a USB, or you can just opt for the link, which works out a little bit cheaper. But with the film developing and scanning, you're looking at about £25–30 per film. Which, if you're doing that quite a lot, work out quite expensive. Once in a while, yeah, it's not too bad.